Hey there, welcome back to Brandon Handley Live, and this episode is going to be, well, it's not really an episode, but this is going to be a review on Men Are Like Waffles and Women Are Like Spaghetti. It says Understanding and Delighting in Your Differences, is this book. So a little context on this one is that Meg and I had been having one of our conversations, and at some point, it just kind of came to an impasse, I guess, and we just left our conversation where it lay. And a couple minutes later, she sent me an email with a link to something out of this book, and it had really made me laugh. It just pretty much had to say, it was just a funny line. And I was like, whatever that book is, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go buy it. And I said, hey, let's both just read this book and see what it's about. It's supposed to just kind of being about communication and how women and men are just a little bit different. For example, it talks about the reason that men are like waffles is they say that they compartmentalize all their stuff. So in this box and this waffle is where these thoughts are happening and occurring. No other thoughts are coming in to man's brain. And I guess fair enough, sure, could be seen that way. And then it talks about women being like spaghetti. If you follow a spaghetti strand and like a big old plate, you can follow it, but then that spaghetti strand touches like all the other spaghetti strands, and next thing you know, it's a big old spaghetti thought process. So it's pretty entertaining. I did read the whole book. I will have to say that even immediately as I started this book, it gives us a quotes out of the Bible, Genesis 1:2-7 and Romans 1:5-7. And if you are religious, I think that this book will possibly sit very well with you. If you are not religious, you may have some difficulties getting through this book, just because there's a lot of religious content, a lot of emphasis on God in your life and how that all plays out. So if that type of thing bothers you, I would not recommend that you take this one up. Or if you're able to supplant the word God or think about religion as just teachings or something like that, then you might be able to go ahead and get through it. But there's definitely going to be, there's actually a whole section on how to integrate the church, God, and your religion, such as it may be, into some of these things in this book. I will also say that there were a couple things that I did enjoy in this book. One of them was simply that you could come up with a list of 10 things that you could do for each other that were free. There was another one that was come up with 10 of your dream dates that you'd like to go through that year. That way you and your significant other both knew of some ideas and maybe how to incorporate them throughout the year, which I thought was pretty neat. Overall, I think it was okay. I feel like the material is a little bit dated. When this book was written, it was about 2000, around 2000. The couple have been married for about 25 years, and it had a little bit of resonance of, to me anyways, female submission, or not female submission, but being more submissive, playing a more submissive role. And for that reason, I didn't think Meg would really enjoy it, and I don't think that she wanted to read it after she'd heard some of that content. And I believe some of the reviews had mentioned that there was a lot of religions and that there was some content that was female submissive, just male dominant. And that's okay. That's how this couple was, and they got their book out and they wrote it. And like I said, it was entertaining. There were definitely some good takeaways. Like I said, one of them being, coming up with some new ideas and just kind of how to handle your children was part of it. And it's always helpful just to get somebody else's perspective. How would I rate this book? 1 to Waffle. I'd leave it at 1. There's not too many people I would approach and say, hey, you got to pick this book up. Not at least without getting their background. Like if you're super religious and you're in a type of relationship, then I would recommend it. Otherwise, probably not so much. But again, really kind of was entertaining, and I did enjoy it to some degree, and I'm glad that I finished reading it. Men are like waffles. Women are like spaghetti. Understanding and delighting in your differences. See you guys.